Hey guys, I'm Dev, and I firmly believe imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and when it comes to Stranger Things, the Duffer brothers do a whole lot of flattery. Look, if you haven't seen the obvious inspirations, we're talking E.T., The Goonies, Stand By Me, Close Encounters, pause the video right now and go watch those immediately. But if you're already familiar with these timeless classics, we've got some deeper cuts that influence the Duffers, and we're gonna showcase them right here on Stranger Things Reference Recommendations. We'll begin with Firestarter. It's no secret that Stranger Things owes a huge debt to the stories of Stephen King, but the main plot is actually a take on a lesser-known King adaptation called Firestarter. Just see if this sounds familiar. The government experiments on some folks who give birth to a girl with supernatural powers, then she's abducted by an evil agency that wants to use her as a weapon. One of the agents takes on a parental role to earn her trust, but after the illusion is shattered, she goes on a rampage. It probably sounds like I'm talking about Eleven, but everything I said applies to Charlie, the protagonist in Firestarter.
I think they're gonna kill you, Daddy. We have to run, we have to hide, That's what they want to do. They want to kill you. Kill you like they did Mommy and take me away. I won't let it happen, I won't.
They're not completely identical though. For one thing, her dad is alive, he's got mind control powers of his own, and he's the one who springs her from the shop. Charlie's powers are different too. She's a pyrokinetic, meaning she can create and control fire with her mind, hence the title. Little on the nose, but I'm into it. As far as King movies go, this one kind of fell through the cracks, which is weird considering the cast that's involved.
You're a liar.
No, what kind of talk is that from a nice little girl like you?
Go to hell.
On top of Drew Barrymore and Martin Sheen, there are 3 Oscar winners in Firestarter. George C. Scott, Art Carney, and even Nurse Ratched herself, Louise Fletcher. Also, Firestarter was originally in the hands of the Thing director John Carpenter. It was actually the Thing's failure at the box office that made Universal replace him with Commando director Mark Lester. Still, if you want to see a cute kid roasting government goons alive, you can do way worse than Firestarter.
Don't you understand what she's doing? Can't you feel it? Don't be stupid.
Charlie isn't quite as endearing as Eleven, and we don't even know what kind of breakfast food she likes. Maybe she's kind of a toaster strudel girl.
Never.
But let's see Elle take out a damn helicopter by squinting at it. Speaking of her powers, the Duffers represented her psychic abilities with some inspiration from Under the Skin. When Eleven enters the sensory deprivation tank, her astral form manifests in a vast expanse of nothingness. All we can see is Elle and her reflection in the dark liquid below her feet. It's an extremely cool visual, but we can't chalk this one up to the Duffer brothers. It's taken almost verbatim from a 2013 movie called Under the Skin. It's by an English director named Jonathan Glazer, who also made Sexy Beast. And I'll just say it's extremely weird. We're 13 minutes into Under the Skin before a single line is spoken, but the haunting visuals and complex performance by Scarlett Johansson makes this a must-see. She plays an unnamed alien who lures unsuspecting men back to her house, and a lot of these scenes were actually recorded with hidden cameras.
Scarlett's character was interacting with real people who were completely unaware that they were in a fictional film.
Her victims aren't actors, they're mostly just random Scottish dudes who got in a van because Scarlett Johansson asked them to.
Do you want to live? Aye, why not?
They wind up in a black reflecting void that looks exactly like Eleven's experience in the sensory deprivation tank. But for Scarlett, it's more like a feeding chamber. Her hypnotized prey sinks through the floor where their skin shrivels away and their blood and guts get fed into a conveyor belt. It's very weird. Is it tough to explain? Yes. Is it gorgeous? Yes. It's a beautiful exploration of an alien slowly finding her own humanity. If you're interested in a disturbing story told through incredible visuals, you should check it out. And if you got a strong stomach, you should check out Elfen Lied. Government experiments giving kids horrific powers is an anime trope that goes all the way back to Akira. But a more obscure 2004 series called Elfen Lied was one of the Duffers' biggest inspirations for Stranger Things. They said it reminded them of an extremely violent anime version of E.T., and they're not wrong.
Die, you monster! You son of a bitch!
The main character is Lucy, a member of a mutant offshoot of humanity called Diclonius. In the first episode, she stages a bloody escape from an evil research facility just like Eleven. She's taken in by some kindly locals too. But Lucy and Dicloni differ from humans in two ways. They've got two little horns on their heads and invisible razor-sharp arms called vectors. Elle might be the master of brain squishing, but she can't quite slice and dice the same way Lucy does. Elfen Lied is one of the most violent animes out there, and that's saying something. There's like the scene where the guy like turns his head and it's like shaking and it just falls off. It's insane. That whole hallway scene is insane. The brutality and sadistic torture makes for an extremely bizarre contrast with an ultra cute art style. But if you're a fan of the ultra violence, or you want to see Stranger Things filtered through Japanese weirdness, give Elfen Lied a shot. It's not the only Japanese export to influence the Duffers though. There's also the survival horror classic Silent Hill. I'm sure this comes as a huge shock, but the Duffers are big gamers. They've talked at length about how the fungus field upside down was inspired by imagery from The Last of Us, and how they tried to capture the lonely, uncomfortable feeling of Dark Souls, not to mention the giant Lovecraft monster straight out of Bloodborne. But the clearest gaming shout-out has to be Silent Hill. It's a psychological horror franchise that takes inspiration from movies like Jacob's Ladder and the work of David Lynch, as well as Stephen King's The Mist. The story changes over the course of the series, but they share some common elements, like spooky nurses with no faces and a murderous cult called The Order. But the biggest influence on Stranger Things is its depiction of the other world. It's a foggy, desolate mirror lurking just below the reality of a small American town with a crackling old radio as your only form of communication. This is the most impractical form of communication. Every person who takes a walkie-talkie into a supernatural environment never works. It's always, hello, hello, oh, I guess we're dead. The Duffers have cited Silent Hill's fog and dripping forest as a major influence on the visuals of the Upside Down, but it's not a one-to-one comparison. While the Upside Down seems to be an alternate dimension home to alien creatures, Silent Hill's otherworld is populated by manifestations of your subconscious mind. In other words, the monsters inside are representations of your own issues. That's very scary. For example, the series' mascot Pyramid Head might seem like your typical executioner with a giant buster sword, but he's actually a symbol of our hero James's guilt over his wife's death. I'm not really sure what the Demogorgon here could represent, the frightening changes in puberty, the tragedy of lost innocence, or maybe Will Byers is just really afraid of salad. If you're gonna check out the games, you should probably start with Silent Hill 2.
Relax.
Don't order me around!
It's a little dated, but it's one of the most unsettling experiences you'll ever have. Or if video games aren't your thing, the Silent Hill movie is actually one of the best game adaptations out there. Not that that's a high bar to clear. So we've given you guys a few suggestions to keep you entertained after binging the new Stranger Things. Of course, you can take your time and stretch it out over a couple months, but who am I kidding? I'm blasting through season 2 at least twice before Halloween, and I bet you guys will too. So hopefully our recommendations can hold you over until Stranger Things season 3. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just love how Stranger Things packs so much pop culture into one awesome show. I personally am a big fan of Stand By Me, and I love that influence on the entire first season, especially the small town, bullies, all this kind of stuff. If you have your favorite reference from Stranger Things that you want to leave in the comments below, do that, and be sure to subscribe to Now This Nerd. Thank you.